We're getting ready to start here. First off, I wanted to share a little bit of our location where we're at. We're at Books and Brews in downtown Sioux Falls, and this place is so cool. I wish you guys could see it, but let me switch my camera around and I want to show you a few things. I absolutely love this place because it is so cool. Of course, y'all know that I found the Dean Koontz area here, and all the books that have been acquired or donated here, you can buy them. So if you have something that you start reading off the shelf, and then if you're halfway through, by the end of your meal, you can just take it home with you. I've already found about 5 titles I want to take home with me, of course. But we have the bar here and our table, but I'm going to get ready to do a chapter reading and entertain y'all. For now, I'm just going to hang out for just a little while, and I'm going to do a chapter reading for y'all. And we have some folks here with us tonight, so please enjoy.
Thank you.
And I had decided to go ahead tonight and do chapter 12. I'm going to be reading from Be Bold. And I know there are a few that have had advanced copies. Most of you have not seen this book yet, but throughout each chapter I had such a great time researching and sharing some of my favorite quotes. So I'm going to read you some of the quotes as we go through the chapter. Number 12, be bold. Be willing to take a chance. The bold and the generous have the best lives. That's an Icelandic proverb. Why is riding a roller coaster fun? Why do some people seek the adrenaline rush of paragliding or ziplining? The heights, the speed, even the feeling of being out of control can be scary in a good way. As we get older, activities we've always enjoyed can seem mundane or even boring. When that happens, it might be time to take a chance or try something new, even if it means it's something a little scary. Science tells us that adrenaline is the body's natural response to fear, but the chemicals released along with the adrenaline can actually give us a feeling of euphoria. Some people are quick to embrace this excitement, while others are likely to hesitate. My mother was one to embrace it. Maybe it was her Scandinavian heritage and the innate Viking spirit that made her so adventurous, but whatever the reason, she welcomed every opportunity and raised all 10 of us to welcome it too. Once during a family reunion in Colorado, we eagerly rafted the white water of the upper Animas River. Mom was 70, but she pulled her weight with a paddle, helping to ensure that her boat didn't capsize in the strong rapids. A loud train going by. I'm gonna pause for just a minute and let that guy pass. She thrived on thrills, so none of us raised an eyebrow when 18 years later, one of my sisters bought her a tandem paragliding experience for her 88th birthday. I have to admit, I did raise an eyebrow when I watched her and her instructor performing flips in mid-air, but she loved every minute of it. So it was no surprise when Mom made arrangements to paraglide again 2 years later, this time in Iceland. She was giddy with excitement, and the excitement was infectious, so I agreed to go with her and try paragliding myself. It's an interesting thing sometimes to think about what we're afraid of or intimidated by. I'm comfortable speaking to audiences of several hundred people and even relish the excitement of whitewater rafting, but paragliding was an entirely different experience. My discomfort with heights and the sensation of unfettered midair flight combined to make the experience one that I would hesitate to repeat. For some people, being bold means facing a physical challenge or fear. Others are more apprehensive about speaking in public or performing in front of a group. Regardless of fears, there are benefits to facing and overcoming them. I may never go paragliding again, but I'm glad I did it at least once and cherish the experience. The memory of the flight, the amazing views from that height, and the camaraderie of having shared the adventure with my mom are all part of why I don't regret doing it. In addition to helping us become more self-confident, overcoming fears can help us be more empathetic to others with similar apprehensions and open a whole new world of events and activities. If you're uncomfortable with public speaking, volunteer to read for Children's Story Hour. Such an audience, they're more forgiving of nervousness and can help build your confidence about taking on bigger challenges later. If the idea of performing feels intimidating, consider auditioning for a small role at your local theater or take on a supporting role like serving as an usher or working on set design. Community theater opens new doors for socializing and growing your circle of friends. No matter what fears or uncertainties are limiting our activities, we can confront them and often surmount them by starting small. If you've always wanted to take a cruise but you're afraid of water, take the first step by signing up for swimming lessons or water safety. If you're not comfortable asking that special someone out on a first date, invite them to join you for a walk or a cup of coffee. There's an abundance of benefit when we resolve to be bold and take the first step. Remember, the mind is as resilient as the body. To become stronger physically, we follow a workout routine and gradually increase the difficulty. Our minds can work in the same way. Start small and build the challenge gradually. If you find yourself enjoying many activities you never thought you'd try, and even if your greatest public speaking engagement ever is reading for story time, or you decide to stay off the main stage, being bold will expand your world in delightfully unexpected ways. Test your limits. You'll never know until you try. Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. By William James, American philosopher and psychologist. The concept of boldness and the idea of testing our limits are topics usually reserved for motivation in physical fitness and business. In both areas, we learn how to assess risk, establish priorities, and measure success. We work toward achieving a goal, biking 10 miles, finishing a marathon, closing that sale, gaining a promotion. At the gym, we grit our teeth and push forward for just one more step. At the office, we take on a challenging project to prove to the boss that we're up to the task. In retirement, instead of giving up that way of thinking, we can apply it to new and other endeavors. There is no maximum age for new experiences and no expiration date for challenge. To truly reach life's full potential, we should never stop pushing ourselves towards something new. Testing our limits helps us determine what we're fully capable of, whether that's a physical accomplishment, a mental challenge, or a leadership achievement in a group. When I was 46, I had the opportunity to do just that. Back in elementary school, I'd harbored a dream of joining the Air Force to fly airplanes, maybe even pilot the space shuttle one day. But I told myself since my eyesight was poor, it was something I would never do, so I never pursued it. Honestly, it probably had more to do with my nervousness about heights than anything else. Not a fear exactly, but a strong discomfort. Then one day, about 35 years later, I was visiting my mom at her home when her friend Marvin, who was a private pilot, called. Marvin often called on his friends to sit in the co-pilot seat and keep him company when he needed to fly somewhere, but Mom had plans that day and couldn't go, so she suggested that I might like to. I was a little scared, but also excited, so I thought, why not? I met Marvin at a private airport, and we flew to a small town about 40 miles away. He kept up a constant stream of chatter, explaining each task as he performed it, a natural teacher who clearly enjoyed having an interested student. He explained the operation of the plane and pointed out the instruments and controls, telling me about how they worked and how the functions they performed. He taught me about the dials and the gauges and used unfamiliar words like altimeter and gyroscope. Marvin's passion for flying was so infectious that when he offered me the controls, I boldly accepted. After just 1 minute behind the stick, I was hooked. It was even more exciting than my first time behind the wheel of a car. I'm not sure why I loved piloting a small craft but didn't enjoy paragliding, but I did. Maybe it was because the twin-engine Cessna 414A was big enough to feel stable and small enough to feel free. Today, years later, I can close my eyes and I'm back in the co-pilot seat, looking out at the expansive sky and the green fields below, bisected by gray strips of paved road and brown lines of dirt road. We were the only witnesses to the scenes around us, and I remember feeling so blessed to be privy to such a beautiful sight. I remember feeling the sun on my face and seeing the few puffy clouds high in the sky above us, providing a stark white contrast to the vivid blue sky. The memory feels almost surreal and peaceful as it felt being in that plane. Boldness isn't necessarily courageous or heroic. It's a willingness to act with confidence or take a risk. It's confronting fear or insecurity and not allowing it to limit our life experiences. And in that, on each chapter of the book, I have a challenge section. Face fear and insecurity. Robert Frost, an American poet, said freedom lies in being bold. Think about what fears or uncertainties may be holding you back from something you've always wanted to do. Is there a first step that you can take? Adding a little boldness to life can lead to lots of adventure. I included a challenge checklist, and I'm going to read those to you. But any ones that you have in mind, feel free to add them to your personal list. My ideas include ride a roller coaster or a zip line, take a tandem paragliding or parasailing ride, join a theater group, visit a water park or a beach, learn to swim, volunteer to organize or MC an event, especially if you're afraid of talking in front of a crowd. Spearhead a charitable or nonprofit event. Join a singles club or go on a first date. Share poetry or personal writing in a group. Take a ride on a hot air balloon. Visit an animal sanctuary. Or sing a song at karaoke. Any of those things can be bold if there's something that you find a little intimidating or a little frightful. For some of those, they may seem like no big deal. I know for me, anything high up in the air or probably a water park would be my biggest fear. Obviously, speaking in front of a group is not a problem for me. But think about what you might like to do. And if you have the opportunity, get a copy of my new book, or if you want, the inspiration book was Mom's Never Too Late. And in this is where I go through the 93 new things that she did between her 93rd and 94th birthdays. She started working on this book and had a lot of it written, but unfortunately she passed away before she finished it, so I did finish it for her. And this book is now available tomorrow on Amazon or at some of your local bookstores. Okay, well, I probably won't go the full hour then on the Go Live, so if you have any questions and want to pose them right now, I'll take them. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and end the Go Live, and we're going to get to eating some pizza. I'm sorry, those of you who are in remote locations, you can't join us here, but they have amazing pizza, so the next time you're here in Sioux Falls, you need to come to Books and Brews because it is awesome.